This is my motherfucking show, and I do what the fuck I want. Unfortunately, again, I am essentially here alone because I never actually do my job and procure a fucking temporary co-host or even a special guest to come and rage about things with me. What's up, everybody? This is Brockus Rage. I am, of course, Brockus, and tonight I am going to be talking about really fucking toxic fandoms. What do I mean by toxic fandoms? I mean the fucking idiots, the retards, the jackasses that just ruin it for fucking everyone. The ones that sit there and actually bitch about how, but this is how I want to actually enjoy the series. That's fine. Enjoy the series the way you want to. Do not fucking post that shit on the internet and say this is how it is, because you are fucking wrong. This is how we got the ending of Korra, and then that piece of shit fucking writer who decided to actually tell us and have the audacity to tell everybody, if you didn't see this coming, then you need to rewatch the show with hetero lenses off. Nigga, I knew it was coming and I still didn't see shit. I get really pissed off when people fucking have that sort of arrogance about them, that I'm better than you attitude and shit. Like we covered yesterday on CNN for about an hour. We talked about how fucking stupid the goddamn Snape, the trans Snape community is in the fucking Harry Potter fan base. And I'm going to be honest, that right there, the fact that there is an actual trans Snape community or Snape trans community, whatever the fuck it is, that alone makes me think, all right, I'm going to burn these fucking books because you need to stop. I'm going to go over to the chat real quick and see who is here. I see Fakest, Jeremy06, Magnus, and Fad. Magnus decided to call me Keemstar Jr. Fuck you, Magnus. Fakest says Nerf Bastion. Well, I'm not much of an Overwatch player. I'm not a huge Overwatch fan or anything like that. I would play Overwatch if I could, but I just don't. But yeah, I don't believe in the whole Nerf Bastion thing. No, leave Bastion as is. He's a fucking tank. Let him be a tank. For fuck's sake. Just he's a walking death machine. That was the whole purpose behind his entire existence. He is a walking death machine. Let him be a walking death machine. Enough with this garbage elitist idea. Nerf Bastion, that fucking song that gets repeated on TikTok over and over again. Every time I hear that fucking bitch say Nerf Bastion, I'm like, bitch, you don't even play Overwatch. Shut the fuck up. Fucking liar. R.I.P. Stanley. Yeah, sadly, for many of you who may or may not know, unfortunately, we lost a legend today, and that is Stanley. Great man. Wrote an amazing fucking library of comic book characters, stories, and things of that nature. Left an amazing legacy that is currently being shit and pissed all over because Marvel thinks they know better than the fans. Fuck you. But overall, Stanley was a great man. Yes, he had his flaws. You know, for anyone who's actually more of a Steve Ditko fan or a Jack Kirby fan, you know that Stan has had problems with people in the past when it came to comic books, when it came to companies, things like that. Still, it is Stan motherfucking Lee. He gave us the X-Men. He gave us Doctor Strange. He gave us the Fantastic Four. He gave us all the Avengers, with the exception of like one or two of them. Technically, he never even really gave us Captain America, but that was what he got started in comic books, writing for Captain America when he was a fucking kid. The man he's a legend of legends, and everybody needs to pay their respects to Stan Lee. If you don't, shame on you. You're not one of my people. Let's see. Brockus has the toxiest fan base. Well, that's, I guess, true. I suppose I'm not really sure why my fans are so fucking toxic, but yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, especially when it's you, fakest, you sick bastard. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specifics of all of this. A fan base that I have talked about in the past that really pissed me the fuck off are the Legend of Korra fans. Now, personally, I loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. Thought it was great. Thought it was fan-fucking-tastic. But Legend of Korra was very lackluster and unfortunately extremely lacking. Now, there is a channel I have actually mentioned in the past called ER. That is capital E, semicolon, capital R. That's it. That's all the channel's name. Go and look this guy up. He does a lot of different videos where he essentially triggers the fuck out of and loves to trigger the fuck out of both the Legend of Korra fan base as well as the Steven Universe fan base, because he can't stand either one of these shows. Now, the dude has had some criticisms in the past that I don't necessarily agree with, but at the same time, not a big deal. But he was the one who brought to my attention things that I missed when it came to The Legend of Korra Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3. Now, anyone who actually is aware, The Legend of Korra got 4 seasons of this very lackluster TV show that didn't really have a whole lot going on to begin with. It is down your throat, and then at the end, it basically told you, now these two are lesbians, accept it. The whole fucking time, not once dropping big enough hints to give anyone the idea that maybe these two were fucking bisexual, seeing as how they were both fucking the same dude in the first goddamn season.
Hi, Brockus.
Leaf! Hello!
Hi. I decided that this will be a nice small break from school stuff. We'll probably still do school stuff while doing this, but it's kind of still a break.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mental break, if anything else. Not to mention the fact that Schmeckle's not here, so you don't have to worry about it a lot.
Oh, thank God. Oh, did I say that loud?
You did, but we all know how you feel. Oh, man. But yeah, I was doing a little bit of explanation on a couple of fan bases that I think are just absolute trash.
Steven Universe fan base yet? Let's talk about the Steven Universe fan base.
Oh, they were definitely on the fucking list of people I'm going to eviscerate in my fucking little rants.
Let's talk about how they harassed an artist until she attempted suicide.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely wonderful. That was beautiful. I love the entire bit behind this particular story because this is how it always fucking goes with these toxic fucking fans. There was this girl, mind you, she was like 16, 17 years old, I think, maybe 18, 19, still very young.
Yeah, she's like a kid. I'm pretty sure she was like 16.
Yeah, she was basically a kid. And she did a lot of fan art that a lot of people would like and share and all kinds of shit like that and be like, oh my God, this person is so amazing. This person is wonderful. Well, she just so happened to be a really big fan of the new internet craze that was Steven Universe, which is, by the way, one of the worst fucking cartoons I have ever had the displeasure of watching. I sat down because a friend of mine was a fan of the first season of Steven Universe and actually continued watching it fucking on Netflix like years later and shit when it actually got its continuation. It got canceled after its first season for a reason. But I actually had to sit there and watch her watch a couple of episodes. Now, mind you, I think I was drunk, maybe high, not 100% certain. But even while intoxicated, I was watching this trash heap and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever watched. What the fuck? That aside, this woman is a big fan of the Steven Universe fucking series and everything like that. And so she does some fan art. Now, what she did was fan art, an artist's rendition of characters, established or not, whatever. And she made a normally huge and fat chick just a little bit skinnier. a little bit skinnier. And the internet lost its fucking mind. Tumblr specifically lost its fucking mind and basically decided to actually bully and harass this woman for weeks. Would not let up. Every fucking day, anytime this chick went online, there was another notification about kill yourself. How fucking dare you? I'm gonna come to your house and rape you, you fucking cunt. Yes, I've seen some of these messages. Yes, they are very disgusting and vile. Mind you, they're also the leftists. I'm just going to go ahead and point that out. And these people said some awful, heinous shit to the point where this woman just could not handle it anymore. This girl, I'm going to go ahead and say she didn't exactly have the mental maturity of, I would say, a woman. Again, still very young. She ended up trying to kill herself. Unsuccessfully, thankfully. And she ended up being hospitalized. They did not let up. While recovering in the fucking hospital, they kept going. They went even harder. They basically kept saying shit like, you didn't do it good enough, you fucking cunt. You need to kill yourself. Try again. You didn't succeed. Kill yourself. All that shit. Horribly. By this time, however, the actual writers and creators of the show, Steven Universe, got wind of this information and lost their shit on the fans and basically stood up and said, fuck you. This girl did nothing wrong.
Creators have ever done.
Right? This is the only time I will actually praise the creators of fucking Steven Universe, where I'm just like, yes, you did the right thing. They stood up and they said, go fuck yourself, you psychotic cunts. How fucking dare you? She just did fan art. We have no problems with the fan art. What is wrong with you? This is the worst fucking fan base I've ever seen.
I don't even know if she still does art. Like, she kind of just went away from the internet. Maybe she made a new name. I hope she did that. That would have been good for her.
She did continue doing fan art. She just didn't do any of Steven Universe.
Fan base is fucking crazy. She probably doesn't even like the show anymore.
Yeah, her fan art is actually quite recognizable. To anyone who is an artist, they would actually recognize certain styles of art and things like that. And she follows a relatively popular style of fan art when it comes to things from Steven Universe and shit like that. So it is somewhat recognizable, but there is an obvious difference between her art and people that draw similar to her and such. She did, for the most part, kind of disappear. She continued doing her own fan art, but it was under a new name. It was under a different name, and nobody really knows exactly what name she actually goes by now, but it was discovered at some point later on that she is continuing to do fan art. However, she's doing it under a different identity, and she's not revealing who she is with that identity. And to be honest, a lot of artists will do this. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm glad she's still okay. I'm glad she's still alive and everything. And I'm glad that, you know, this whole story was brought to light. Because what then followed after the fucking creators of Steven Universe said was insane. The fans attacked the creators. And they said, it's no longer yours, it's ours. No, bitch, I'm pretty sure they still own the rights to this fucking show, and they could just completely erase it at any given point. In fact, I think the creators really should have just been like, oh, is that how you feel? And then go to the most popular fucking, you know, ships and ideas that they have behind all these different shows, all the fan fiction that these people write and everything like that. They should have gone with the top 5 most popular things and completely destroyed them.
I'm trying to think, because I'm pretty sure there was another incident involving this Steven Universe fan base where they also bullied someone for making one of the fuck did they call them, gems? Whatever the fuck they were, the non-human creatures, the
lesbians.
Aliens.
They're lesbians.
Whatever they were, they made one of them lighter in color, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that was a different one.
Racist. They said it was whitewashing. If I remember correctly, it was a purple character. The character was purple!
Yep. Somehow, going from a darker shade of purple to a lighter shade of purple is still whitewashing. I don't know how, But that's what happened. They claim that this is whitewash. And you're whitewashing the character. He's not supposed to do that. How dare you? It's still a purple character, but it's not the right kind of purple. It's supposed to be darker. It's supposed to be that represent. It's supposed to represent a black chick.
My favorite one in the fan base to make fun of is the fucking Black Panther fan base. Do you remember when someone drew a white Black Panther?
Oh yeah, I love this one. It's actually a black artist who did this, by the way. The artist who did this gorgeous piece is a black man. I'm not even kidding.
I love that. It's such a good drawing. Like I know it got a hell of a lot of backlash, but it's really good.
Yeah. This dude got fucking set on fire online. Here's the best part. He didn't actually come. Well, no. He's actually been very open about being a black guy for a long time now. But he did that piece intentionally. Now, let me just go ahead and explain how it all went down. He's actually a leftist. Believe it or not, he actually was on the side of Black Lives Matter. He actually was on the Democrats' arguments and all that stuff. He was on the left side of everything. He was essentially a liberal. People, I guess, IRL kept convincing him, or maybe it was people online, kept convincing him or trying to convince him that the people that he actually associates with are fucking horrible and heinous. And if he ever does anything that they would deem disrespectful, they would not hesitate to eat him alive. So he tested the waters and basically did white guy Black Panther. Did not have none of them hesitated. They fucking tried to eat him alive. And his ideas and his arguments prior to this have since changed. Now he's still a left-leaner, but he's more of a centrist than anything else. Now he's one of the people that sit in the middle and judge both sides, going, you guys are fucking retarded.
I love that drawing. I love his caption with it too. I haven't seen the movie Black Panther. Did I do this right?
In my head, every time I see that caption, I'm just like, nigga, you know you didn't do that right. You did this on purpose. Gorgeous piece of artwork.
My favorite ones were the ones that think Wakanda is actually a real place and that white people erased it from the history books. Yes, that is a real thing.
Yeah, no, I actually do know about that. See, that, and this is the craziest thing. This is the Deadpool argument all over again. Not a lot of people actually really know this, because most of you are either casual fans still who never paid attention to this, or you were not really a part of this world or anything like that. Most of the people watching, I would assume. Several years ago, before Deadpool ever made his actual big debut in a movie, in a very terrible movie that we don't like to talk about, being played by Ryan Reynolds. Before that happened, next to no one knew who Deadpool was. And I can tell you right now, of all of my friends, there were only a handful of people who knew who Deadpool was. I introduced them to Deadpool, most of them, and they thought he was a pretty interesting character. I have a certain friend of mine who is a male feminist. And when I say male feminist, yes, I both mean it in the literal and figurative way, because he's a male feminist with the air quotes and everything. And you know what I mean when I talk about male feminist. He's practically a rapist. But he is one of the fake fans of Deadpool. He didn't know who Deadpool was. He was never a fan of Deadpool. Anytime we talked about comic books, he never fucking mentioned Deadpool. He would always mention somebody else, like the Punisher. He always thought the Punisher was a little bit cooler than everybody else and shit. He would mention Batman. He would mention the Green Lantern. He mentioned a lot of other names, but he never really mentioned Deadpool. Deadpool comes out, his popularity just explodes all over the fucking front lawns for everybody in this goddamn country, and now everybody loves Deadpool. Now this motherfucker has several Deadpool t-shirts. He talks about how he loves Deadpool. He thinks Deadpool is one of the coolest characters his entire life and shit. And I'm like, motherfucker, you didn't even know who Deadpool was. I kept trying to tell you Wade Wilson is a fucking awesome character. Yes, technically you can argue he's a copy because he actually is, but at the same time, Rob Liefeld gave us one of the fucking coolest goddamn mercenary characters from the 90s that I think is actually underrated. This was before his chaos went too fucking far. Now I'm indifferent with Deadpool. I love Deadpool, but I love older Deadpool. I'm not a huge fan of what the fans have turned him into. But it's Black Panther is another character. I've always been a fan of the Black Panther. I thought he was one of the coolest fucking characters back when I actually discovered him in like the 90s and shit, along with the X-Men and so many other comic book characters. I thought Black Panther was awesome. He was better Batman, in my opinion. Anytime I would bring up or talk about the Black Panther, I'm like, oh, T'Challa is the shit. That's my nigga. Now all of a sudden, everybody's like, I've always been a fan of the Black Panther. Motherfucker, you didn't even know who the hell T'Challa was 10 years ago. Shut the fuck up and sit down, you fucking lying ass bitch. And at the same time I'm getting this argument going, I'm being told by Leaf, there are people that literally believe Wakanda is real. And I'm like, hold on, what? That's not true, is it? Yeah. Then she gave me an article, and it's true. There are people that legitimately believe Wakanda is a real place. I don't know if you know how insane that is. Like, Leaf, I'm sure you do. But I'm trying to gauge the audience here. I'm trying to wonder, like, do you realize how crazy that sounds?
I'm sure, fuck. I'm trying to think of like another fan base also kind of doing school stuff right now. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm like
Marfleece
blanking on the school stuff so hard right now. Like I know what I have to write. I know what I have to do in order to write the thing. I've gotten more than half of it done. It's just this last little bit, and I'm just blanking.
Just don't freeze.
I fucking hate my life. Anyway, I'm just gonna close that down for a bit. I still have about an hour-ish and 20 minutes to finish everything, so. Anyways, fuck, there was another fandom that's really horrible. I can't, I'm blanking on that too. I'm very tired.
Other than the Harry Potter fan base? Because they are a fucking nightmare and a half right now.
I don't like the Harry Potter fan base. I honestly don't even think the Harry Potter books were ever really that well written. They got so much praise. I'm just like, this isn't really, I mean, okay. But no, did you know that Hermione apparently can be black despite the cover art of the books and the descriptions in the books all saying otherwise, according to Rowling?
Yeah, I actually, it's one of my biggest arguments, or one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to the Harry Potter fan base. On more than one occasion, the fans will have this ridiculous outcry when it comes to certain things about Harry Potter. And J.K. Rowling, who just wants people to buy her product. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't give a fuck about any of you. She cared for a moment, and then she got to be a millionaire again, so she didn't give a shit anymore. But like, there are some people that she actually does still like, I guess, some fans that she's willing to, you know, kind of hang out with, I guess. I don't know. The Luna Lovegood chick, she actually was a huge fan of the Harry Potter books, because Luna Lovegood doesn't make an appearance until, what was it, book 3? No, I think either Luna Lovegood doesn't make an appearance until book 3 or book 4, one of the two. Either way, there was the girl who played Luna Lovegood was actually hospitalized when she was a teenager, young teenager. and she was unfortunately hospitalized for an eating disorder. I believe she was anorexic or possibly bulimic. I'm not 100% certain.
And probably, see, the thing with eating disorders is if you're anorexic, it means you don't eat. Bulimia usually means if you do eat, you binge, like you binge eat and then throw it all up. Sometimes people who are anorexic can't get around not eating, like you're at a family event, your little tricks don't work. You know, you can keep cutting your food smaller and smaller and smaller to make it look like you ate something, but it doesn't always work. So what anorexic people will sometimes do is they'll still eat whatever thing they don't really have a choice, and then they'll go and throw it up after, which is, I guess, kind of like still bulimia because they're still eating and then throwing everything up after. Anyways.
You speaking from experience?
Totally not speaking from experience. No idea what you're talking about.
I'm just giving you shit. Adrian Blum is in the chat pointing out she's a billionaire. Yes, but she was a millionaire at one point. After it was, I think, book number 4 or number 3, either number 3 or number 4 had come out, and she suddenly she jumped up to being a multimillionaire. She didn't become a billionaire until I think book number 5, because at that point the movies had already been out. When it was just the books, she was a multimillionaire. When the books and the movies came out, she became a billionaire. But so when the books were just books, before the movies had actually become a thing, or maybe right after movie number 1 had come out, there was this girl who was unfortunately in a children's hospital, and she was there because of an eating disorder. And she was a huge fan of the Harry Potter book series. She loved the books and all that stuff. Well, I guess J.K. Rowling's publicist got wind of this because they had received enough letters from her and such to actually pay attention. J.K. Rowling went to the children's hospital and met all of her fans and signed autographs and all that stuff and talked to that specific actress. And she said, when you get out of this hospital, when you get out of this hospital, give these people a call and see if maybe you might actually want to try out to be a character in an upcoming movie or something like that. Maybe you can be an extra. Well, it turned out she wasn't just an extra. She was an actual side character, a supporting role that was technically not written for her, but when it was her who ended up getting the role, she sort of manipulated the stories. J.K. Rowling's manipulated the stories a little bit to actually give this character more exposure. So Luna Lovegood got actually as big of a role as she did in comparison to others.
Way to cast a character, though.
They didn't actually intentionally cast her because she was the fan or anything like that. It just happened to fall that way in. It was later on in the books that you got to see more of Luna.
You go to a hospital and it's like, yeah, you can be a character in my movie when you get out.
Oh, truth be told, J.K. Rowling had no idea that she was going to be that good of an actress. It was actually the studio who decided to make her have a speaking role and stuff. J.K. thought she was just going to be a background actor, that she was just going to stand in the background pretending to have a conversation with somebody while Harry and fucking Ron were doing some goofy ass shit in the foreground. That was what JK thought was going to happen and stuff. Or maybe she was just going to get an invitation to be on set, something along those lines, just something nice, nothing real extravagant. And then it just so happens she was actually a fucking good actress. She was cute as a button. And they were like, we have this new character, Luna Lovegood. I want to see you read for her. She read for the character. They loved her. She won out of 500 girls that particular time. And she became she became one of the main characters in the story. Because if you pay attention, Luna, in the very first appearance, barely has any presence. Then the movie comes out. It's her. Suddenly Luna Lovegood has more of a presence in the books compared to other characters like Seamus or Dean or even Cho, for God's sakes. So Just pointing out, like, weird shit has happened and stuff like that. But I think that's the last time that J.K. Rowling has ever actually given a shit about her fans and stuff. Because since then, she just panders to every fucking one of them.
The fat bearded man's name? I don't remember the names of the characters half the time.
Hagrid?
Yeah, didn't she make him gay or something, or bisexual?
No. Hagrid actually has no sexuality. You could argue because the fucking goddamn fans have basically said Hagrid is actually non-binary.
Rowling saying herself, like coming out and saying like he was bisexual or something or other.
But no, it's Dumbledore is actually gay.
Dumbledore, that was the one. Also, she may have said something about. No, that was the fan base that said Snape was transgender.
Yep, and I tore into them about that yesterday. It's fucking ridiculous. It's retarded as hell because Dumbledore was probably never meant to be gay in the beginning. But then J.K. Rowling's decided that she was going to kind of play into it and stuff. So she dropped a few hints here and there and said, yeah, Dumbledore's gay. But it didn't play a huge part in his role in story. They just made a big fucking deal out of it for no goddamn reason because, you know, it's important.
Hey, Brockus. Hey, Brockus.
Yes?
You want to talk about the K-pop fandom?
No, because if I talk badly about them, they will find me and they will skin me alive. Fair warning to anyone who is not aware of this. There is a certain fandom out there. If you speak negatively, they won't just come at you like the fans of Harry Potter. They won't just come at you like the fans of fucking Steven Universe. The K-pop fans have actually attempted murder for saying something negative about one of their precious boy bands. It's pretty fucking crazy out there. It was like if Schmeckel just tweeted one day and say Brockus was written as gay. Well, that's how he says everybody is. All of his co-hosts are gay. He's the only straight one. It's a lie. Schmeckel's the only faggot.
I hate my life.
So, okay, Psycho216 is saying baby metal for life. Look, there are 3 stages of baby metal, all right? First stage of baby metal, what the fuck is this? What am I listening to? Second stage of baby metal, all right, this is actually, you know what? It's weird. I thought I felt strange at first, but I actually like this. Third stage baby metal. Okay, it's weird again. What the hell is this?
I first heard baby metal on Facebook. Give me chocolate. I fucking hated it at first. I was like, what the fuck is this? Why is it a thing? And they kind of just grew on me. I don't know. They're like, I know they're nice girls. I think one of the guitarists or drummers passed away. Can't remember. I don't know. I do know they hang out with some like actual bigger metal bands and shit, like American ones. They were cool with them. They all got along. A lot of people do hate baby metal, though.
Yeah, a lot of people hate baby metal, and I think it's unwarranted because baby metal is actually not bad. It's just really weird. It's J-pop and metal.
It's an elitist thing. What it is.
That's the other thing that I can't fucking stand is the elitist mentality in some of these fandoms. Like, look, I hate the toxic fan base. I really can't stand these spurgs, these rejects who they have to be so fucking weird. Like their lives are so boring and uneventful and uninteresting. Like they type on fucking YouTube type on YouTube. They type on Facebook or Twitter and they mention things like went to the store today to get a sandwich. Bought the sandwich. Didn't do much else.
You know what though, you guys mentioned baby metal. Look, if Judas Priest is willing to do a fucking collaboration with them live on stage, I got no problem with them.
I'm not saying anything bad about baby metal. Actually, I kind of like baby metal.
Well, no, I mean you were saying people were saying stuff about it, and it's like,
well, yeah,
shit. I've seen Judas Priest. I've seen them singing live on stage with Judas Priest. If Judas Priest ain't got no problem with them, I ain't got no problem with them.
I don't know, but there's still a lot of people who do it. A lot of people actually went off on Judas Priest a few times because they hung out with baby metal, and a few other people who have taken photos and defended baby metal. You know, it's how people are. They're the elitists. They call themselves the true metalheads. You know, the
no,
ones
you can go fuck yourselves.
Well, you know what though. I will badmouth K-pop faggots all day long. Come at me, you wimpy little motherfuckers.
Oh God, no! Will Honorless said the magic words. The Rick and Morty fans. Holy fucking shit! I could fill a 5-day rant.
McDonald's incident. Anyone want to talk about the McDonald's incident?
No, I don't want to talk about the fucking McDonald's incident. Some chubby ass Asian retard jumps onto a counter, fucking screams, "I'll pickle Rick," with his goddamn shirt over his fucking head like he's trying to be Cornholio from Beavis and Butthead. I just want to jump onto that fucking counter and just smack the shit out of him, kick him in the balls, and then put my foot in his ass so goddamn hard that he turns into my loafers.
Let's talk about the girl who sold her car for the sauce.
She sold her fucking car for this. I knew that there were people who were obsessed with the Szechuan sauce because of that show, but some bitch sold her car for Szechuan sauce.
Oh, dude, that you just remember though, you have to have a really high IQ to appreciate Rick and Morty.
Go fuck yourself. You have to have an understanding of 80s pop culture to actually appreciate Rick and Morty. God damn it, that whole fucking show is nothing but 80s pop cultures crammed into one poorly animated fucking show with a bunch of over-the-top sex jokes. Go fuck yourself. This is the most blue cartoon you will ever fucking get outside of that extreme pedo show that fucking bullshit Kroll actually gives us. You know the one I'm talking about. AP's in the chat. He did a fucking entire stream talking about how much of a pedophile fucking Hollywood is and that motherfucker Kroll.
Oh, well, hang on though. Does that mean that because I grew up in the 80s that I got a high IQ or whatever you're required to understand Rick
Harmon, that's the guy's name. Dan Harmon, the guy who let a baby touch his crotch and didn't do anything about it. That guy.
Dan Harmon's the other pedophile we have a problem with because he's the current creator of Rick and Morty. He's one of the creators of Rick and Morty.
I know, that's why I brought him up. Dan Harmon.
Yeah, but
who let a baby touch his crotch and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah,
and
he's
still gets defended, and mysteriously the original video has vanished off Twitter.
Oh yeah, because it's so fucking mysterious that, you know, this sick fuck got caught being a sick fuck, and all of a sudden, you know, yeah, the videos are all gone.
I can't say that Dan Harmon is 100% a pedophile. I could say he's probably a pedophile. I could say keep your children away from Dan Harmon. You know, he does like to let babies grab his crotch and not do anything about it. Well, maybe investigate the guy, see if he doesn't have a few terabytes of child porn on his computer. I don't know.
Well, I think the real trick here is the fact that Dan Harmon's a fucking retard. We've all seen that he's a retard.
He's not just a retard. He's a self-entitled retard.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes along with the territory.
I don't know if it really goes along with the territory. I just know that if I ever fucking met Harmon in real life, I would be way too tempted to try to jam my fist down his throat because the motherfucker just pisses me the hell off. Dan Harmon talks all kinds of shit on this person and that person. He's a Nazi. He's a piece of shit Nazi. I hate that because they're Nazis. You are literally worse than Hitler because you're a fucking pedo fuck. All right? Go suck a goddamn dick, you piece of shit bearded fat whore. Fucking can't stand people like you.
No, don't give him any ideas because he'll probably do it. He probably has, considering he still has a job in Hollywood.
Most likely. But you know, that's one of the problems I fucking have with Hollywood, is the fact that everybody tries to pretend like the real bad shit isn't actually going down. We've known that the real bad shit has been going down in Hollywood for a long fucking time. We've known since the Coreys actually spoke out about it back in the fucking 90s. We've known since the MTV Music Video Awards when what's her face, the skank from Hole actually mentioned, don't go and fucking, if Harvey Weinstein asks you to come into his room at like fucking 2 a.m. in his hotel room and shit, don't go because he's just gonna fucking rape you and shit. These people have been dropping hints over and fucking over again all over the goddamn place, and most of the public tries to pretend like it's not a real thing. We want to go ahead and claim that Michael Jackson is still a fucking rapist, even though there was no goddamn evidence about it. The jokes are still funny, I'm not going to deny that, but there was no fucking evidence that Michael Jackson ever actually touched any fucking kid. There was a whole lot of evidence of the mothers coaching the kids to say what they wanted to fucking say to get the money that they wanted and shit, but there was no evidence that Mike had actually done anything like that. We have demonized a lot of fucking people in the past.
Despite all the false accusations or the accusations that were never proven, he still probably shouldn't have had a child. I mean, he named a child the child Frankie and held the child over a balcony. I just...
Hang on, Brockus, I think they were making all those fucking allegations about Michael Jackson just out of the fact that they had to have a Dodge somewhere, and Michael Jackson was just easy pickings.
No, yeah, that. Michael Jackson was one of the biggest names in the 1980s and the 1990s and shit. I'm not surprised that these fucking moms have decided, I want some of Michael's money, so they made up these goddamn lies. Mind you, it was mothers that were convincing their fucking kids to start saying that Michael Jackson actually fucking did some naughty ass shit with them behind closed doors and stuff. Let me put it to you this way. Michael probably should not have, and by probably I mean he definitely shouldn't have done half the shit he did when it wasn't musically fucking inclined. When it came to having a shitload of slumber parties with fucking underage little kids and everything like that, maybe don't do that. When it came to him actually going a little bit crazy and being obsessed with staying a kid most of his adult life, maybe shouldn't do that. When it came to accidentally almost dropping your newborn baby off a fucking balcony, maybe don't do that. Michael has done a lot of crazy shit and a lot of questionable things in the past. And the one thing that we continuously keep remembering him for, he still has no fucking definitive empirical evidence to prove that he legitimately did that shit. All we fucking found out were that there were a shitload of moms telling their kids, mind you, basic household white women, telling their kids, now tell the judge what I told you to tell. I mean, what you told me, little Billy.
Little Billy's not my lover. He's just a kid who says that I am the one.
The point I am trying to make is that fucking Hollywood has got their head so far up their own ass that there's all kinds of fucking problems. We keep trying to point fingers in the wrong goddamn directions. Should we have actually been pissed off that these women actually brought forth the fact that Harvey Weinstein was a rapist? No, I applaud those women for actually bringing that shit up. What I don't appreciate is that one of them turned out to be a goddamn pedophile herself. Okay. That was creepy.
Well,
Still. Now?
I'm trying to get my brain focused on this conversation again. I'm very tired at the school stuff.
I mean,
Okay, well, while Glitchy there continues to try to have a conversation with us. Oh man, I could go on forever about how fucked up Hollywood is, how goddamn of a cesspool it is. I hate this state and a lot of the industries in it.
Let's talk about the Hollywood stuff. Let's talk about what's his face, the Nickelodeon guy, Dan Schneider. Him.
Oh yeah, Dan Schneider being uber creepy as fuck. Also pedophile.
He's not been convicted, but he has this really creepy obsession with the feet of children.
Oh, good. I'm going to have sporadic bad signal. My apologies in advance.
You're a trucker. You never have good signal. You're constantly bouncing off of somebody else's signal or your own cell phone.
Kind of. Well, like I was saying, that's the reason I'm glad I wasn't bitten by the fandom bug, because I can be a fan of something, but I could just as easily walk away from it, you know, just at the drop of a hat. And I'm glad of that, because Hollywood is constantly, it's like, you know, I really like this actor, this celebrity, this voice actor, whatever the fuck. And then they turn around and do something retarded like Tara Strong. Fucking, and it's like, thank God I wasn't that big of a fan.
Oh, Tara Strong is retarded.
Tara Strong is pretty goddamn retarded. Bitching Winch actually says MJ was weird as fuck, but I doubt he did anything to kids. Otherwise, his own kids would come forward. Most pedos go after their own kids because of the easy access. That is actually very, very accurate and very true. Typically, pedophiles will go after one of their own, which kind of makes them very disgustingly incestuous. But basically, a pedophile will typically go after one of their own because of how easy it is and how easy it is for them to manipulate into convincing them not to say anything. Yet, throughout all of those cases, throughout everything that involved MJ supposedly touching kids and stuff, not once, not even to this day, years after his death, have any of his kids come forward and said, yeah, my dad touched me or anything like that. No, they just came out and said, yeah, my fucking name is Blanket. My dad was clearly not right in the head, but he didn't touch kids.
Well, let's just roll it back and look. You got Michael Jackson was raised. His mom was a devout Jehovah's Witness, and his dad turned him and his brothers into a onstage fucking circus act. From the time Michael was old enough to talk or sing, he didn't have a childhood. He was raised by a Jehovah's Witness. Wouldn't that fuck anybody up?
Yeah, that would fuck a lot of people up, but at the same time, like, there is a time and a place for, you know, your antics and still being a child and all that stuff. That being said, there were other children whose innocence were basically stolen by an older man, and I'm going to just circle right back over to the Dan Schneider stuff, because, yes, Dan Schneider has done a lot of creepy-ass shit to a lot of fucking kids on Nickelodeon sets, and yet he's still allowed to walk around. He's still employed with them.
Who the fuck is Dan Schneider?
He worked on shows like iCarly and Drake and Josh and Zoe 101 and
basically shit
others that I'm missing.
Yeah,
he's responsible for shit TV that I'd never watch, even if I was paid.
All the photos he has taken with the actors when they were children, they all look like they want to die. Like, you know, the look in someone's eyes when they're like, "Fucking help me." Yeah, they had the same look, and also he had this really weird thing with feet. Okay, a while back I used to associate with people. I don't do it anymore, really. Long story, I'm not getting into it. However, they did have a chick who actually used to work as a child actor at Nickelodeon, and she was on, what the fuck was that? The Amanda Show? Whatever the fuck it was called. Well, that.
Well,
that. No, I want to finish saying what I want to say.
Finish saying what you want to say. I'm just pointing out, this is Dan Schneider.
Anyways, I forgot what I was fucking saying now. I hate my life.
You don't associate with certain people. You were talking about Dan Schneider being creepy.
They had the chick who worked for Nickelodeon on that. She said when she went for, I guess, the audition, one of the first things they wanted was for the kids to take off their shoes. Like, why?
Yeah, that's it. Dan Schneider is this fat fucking piece of garbage right here. And of course, everybody recognizes this son of a bitch. But yeah, there are a lot of pictures of it.
Jesus Christ.
This is the creepiest photo I have ever seen of this man.
Wow, that even creeped me out.
This is also creepy.
Dan Hollertider Schneider.
It's just, oh my God. Like, okay, but that's Dan Schneider, and he has yet to be, 1, convicted, or 2, fired.
Or even, like, investigated by them at all. They just kind of turn a blind eye to Like it's just not. It's not normal to be that into children's feet. It's like he's fetishizing it. It's very obvious he is. People could argue, well, it's just feet, but he's fetishizing it, and they're children. The fuck? What are you doing?
I mean, do you really expect anything better of Hollywood? I mean, after all, you got Kevin Spacey. What? That was the best part, though. Seth MacFarlane threw those jokes into Family Guy and like speeches and shit that he did. Nobody else seemed to get it except for the people in Hollywood who are like, yeah, Harvey Weinstein's a rapist.
Yeah, real quick, I want everybody to type F in the chat for AP's voice. That man has given us so much entertainment for several months now. Apparently, his voice is going out a bit, and he wants to just give it a rest because he does yell a lot. He's very similar to myself. The only difference between the two of us is he has more to say than what I do a lot of the time. But yeah, his voice is it's a bit injured right now. It's a bit wounded. He just needs a day, and then he will be right back at it again tomorrow night, most likely, possibly, unless he wants to take another night off, entertaining us as fuck, as he usually does. Continuing on.
Brockus, let's go back for a second because you guys brought up the Harry Potter fandom. I read those books, I liked them, but every time I see a reference to them these days, I'm like, okay, those books were popular about, I don't know, 15 years ago, close to. Let them go. Read something the fuck else. I have.
Yeah, it's really, really, really fucking annoying when I have to sit there and every once in a while I see this new goddamn theory from the fucking the Harry Potter fan base, and they've got this new theory of why Hagrid is non-binary, why Severus Snape is a fucking trans woman.
You know what? So really, Hagrid's non-binary. Is that why he was trying to get that really tall lady to suck his dick in book number, what was it, 4?
Yeah, they'll argue something along the lines of you could be non-binary and still want to have sex with somebody of the opposite gender, essentially, or still want to have sex with somebody who is whatever. I don't fuck. Dude, it's overly complicated for being so simplistically stupid as fuck.
Hey, Smosh.
Hey, you guys talk about Justice League?
No, we're not talking about Justice League.
Well, and Brockus, you also brought up the whole thing about Deadpool. It's like, yeah, I knew who Deadpool was practically from his first fucking appearance.
I've read
when they threw him into that movie we shall not talk about, I was like, that's not Deadpool.
Yeah, that's definitely not Deadpool.
That bromage is a thing and will always be a thing no matter what they say.
Leaf, you keep this up, I'm going to put another baby in you. I swear to God.
You're not going to put a baby in me, Brockus. It's just never going to happen.
I already put a baby in you. I've seen the future. I have hung out with Bill and Ted enough times to know that I have already put a baby in you.
I will kill myself. No, it's not going to happen.
No, you're not going to be able to kill yourself because you're going to actually realize I have a child growing inside me. I don't want to actually kill it.
I don't have a baby growing inside of me. You're
going to have one.
No.
It's gonna be like Goblin Slayer, except sexier.
In the face. Very hard.
This sounds like a very intense struggle snuggle coming her way. I don't know what to say. I mean, you may have to...
Shut up, or I will make more Bromage memes. Or I will repost all the ones that I have made, since I lost all of them with my old account.
See, AP is backing me up right now. AP does not lie. Just saying.
Brockus, though, you were when you were talking about it earlier, you were like, that friend of yours brought up like Batman and who all else did you mention? Basically, the most standard fucking comic book heroes you could think of.
No, yeah. He will basically mention the most obvious characters that everyone knows about. You can mention the Punisher, Spider-Man, Batman, certain members of the X-Men and stuff, and they know who they are because of the cartoons from the 90s that, came out for Marvel Kids and all that shit. Or they know about them because other comic book fans will mention them, or maybe they'll stumble across an actual comic book store and their titles are right there. They see the Punisher comic books, they see the X-Men comic books, all this shit. But Deadpool was not a very common household name. Deadpool didn't even actually have his own comic book for a long fucking time. Deadpool would make appearances in Cable comics, in X-Men comic books, in Avengers comic books. Deadpool didn't really get his own comic book until like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it didn't even sell that well. It was one of those comic books that you rarely ever actually came across and found, and they would keep bringing it back, then take it away, then bring it back, and then take it away.
And if I remember right, didn't Deadpool start out as like more straight-laced than he is now?
Oh, absolutely. Deadpool was sort of like a goofier version of Deathstroke. He was just take Spider-Man and Deathstroke and fuse them into one fucking character. The badass background and skills and badassery that is Deathstroke, and then give him a fucking smart-ass dad joke mouth that has nothing but bad puns and really awful timing like Spider-Man. And there you have Deadpool.
Well, yeah,
that was the original Deadpool.
That was the actual original appeal of the character. I mean, holy fuck, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like you know, I haven't read comic books for fucking ever. But I had so many friends that were religious comic book nuts that I would go. Like I had a friend of mine, I would go over to his house and he just had reams of comic books, and I would read his comics. You know, when we weren't really doing anything, I'd read a couple here and there. And Deadpool was like a really good character back then. And it was
I would even argue in certain books he's still a great character now. It just depends on who's writing for him.
Well, that's true of any character, and it's that when the whole Black Panther thing came up, I remember there was a part of me from way back in the day that was kind of excited that, oh hell, they're making Black Panther, and then I was like, oh wait a minute, it's current year, and the people who are writing this character now are completely fucking retarded, and they're going to throw some social justice horse shit into the mix, and never mind, I'm not excited anymore.
I had a friend message me once asking me about Captain Marvel. She saw Infinity War, and she wanted to know like a little bit more about that. She doesn't, read the comics, and I gave her a little thing, and then she asked me about Black Panther, and like my opinions on that. And I remember because I watched it once in theaters, and I watched it again with my mother recently, not recently, but when it came out on DVD. I said, you know what? I fucking hate this movie. It is not good at all. I'm like, the main character is the king of Wakanda, isn't he? He's a king. He's royalty. Everyone knows this, right? Why does everyone treat him like shit? His bodyguard, talks about like did you flinch and all that kind of stuff. His sister treats him like shit. His mom's the only one that ever showed him any real respect.
Well, and that's just because he's a dude. You know how they feel about dudes.
Yeah, I guess.
Though, you brought up Miss Marvel, and it's like you look at her the old days versus now, and it's like, what happened to her? Is that a guy? And then, of course, everybody started making the Carl Manvers jokes, and I was like, yeah, I think that's about right.
I've finally done my school stuff. Oh, sorry.
That was hilariously tough.
While I'm done for this week, I hope, and maybe I'll get 100% again, and I'll be happy with my life and not want to die.
So, Leaf, since you've chimed in, would you ever go to a Comic-Con and cosplay as Captain Marvel?
I would never. Listen, I've worked at a Comic-Con before. I would never set foot in a Comic-Con again dressed as anything.
Well, you know what, though, Leaf, I have to ask you one question that would prove your cred as to whether or not you could cosplay that character. Do you look like Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy?
No.
Then you couldn't cosplay as Captain Marvel, not the modern one, anyway.
I would never cosplay as anything at a Comic-Con ever. I'm not setting foot in one ever again. Okay. If you worked at one, you'll understand why.
Somebody in Adrian Blum is in the chat asking if I know what happened with Captain Cummings and Ethan Van Sciver. I kind of know because Ethan has given his 2 cents on the whole scenario. When this whole thing started, when the Comicsgate thing started off, there were a fuckload of independent creators and independent writers and all that were actually trying to get their comic books out there and such. John Malin, Brett Smith, and Ethan Van Sciver were just names that danced around the subject at first. And then eventually they came out with their titles. Both Brett Smith and John Malin, Comic Book Pros, they actually jumped on board with Richard C. Meyer, and they created Jawbreakers. Around the same time, Ethan Van Sciver came out with Cyberfrog, Blood Honey. And that was actually something that Ethan Van Sciver had actually been working on since practically the fucking 80s and shit. He's said it multiple times. This is a character he's always wanted to do. He just never was able to do it because they kept telling him no. They kept shooting it down. Because pros like Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, and Brett Smith got involved in Comicsgate and actually started pushing forward the Indiegogos and all that stuff, Captain Cummings and a handful of others got very upset because the whole point to the Indiegogo movement, the whole point to the independent comic book creators actually coming forward and pushing their comic books and everything was to actually get recognition off of merit and talent alone. Not so much, we have names and stuff like that. So Captain Cummings, from his point, say that Ethan Van Sciver ruined the Comicsgate movement because he got involved. Ethan Van Sciver believes that he improved on it because you need names like Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, and Brett Smith to actually push forward, because that shows that even the pros who are either freelance or they're just not working right now, they're sick and tired of the bullshit politics of the way that fucking Marvel and DC is being run and stuff like that. That even the pros are with the independent creators. So it was creative differences that really caused them to sort of have a beef with each other. That's basically what ended up happening with Captain Cummings and Ethan Van Sciver.
For those of you who haven't seen it yet, apparently Ethan Van Sciver started his own comics publishing thing, All Caps Comics.
I think it's just a YouTube channel for now. I don't know if he's going to go that far yet. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he would.
I believe I'd have to go back and look when I get a chance, but I believe on Twitter he said he was starting All Caps Comics as a publishing company.
Well, and that could be. That would be cool if he did. It might be a lot of work, though.
Well, you know what? Ethan Van Sciver's been in the industry long enough, and he points that out every time he see a video of his.
Yeah, he's been doing it for.
He's been in the industry for 25 plus years, so I think he could do it. He's probably knows enough about the comics industry. He could be like, yeah, I could do this.
Yeah, I think you got a point there. He probably could do this, and he probably should.
I mean, that would be a good way to get a lot of these independent comic creators into a publishing house that doesn't bend the knee of Mark fucking Wade.
That's actually one of the reasons why I did end up siding with Ethan Van Sciver at the end, is because it doesn't matter if you have a name or if you are a no name. You're basically taking a stance against assholes and fucktards like Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Wade, Dan Slott, fucking Nick Spencer,
Slotto Blocktavius.
I thought it was kind of funny that when what was his name again? Who was doing who's getting sued?
Richard C. Meyer.
Yeah, thank you. No, not him. The other guy.
Oh, Mark Wade's the one who's getting
Thank
sued.
you. For some reason, I lost it. But when Mark Wade started his GoFundMe, it was essentially for the exact amount of money that John Malin was asking for. It's like diversity in comics.
Richard C. Meyer, you mean?
Thank you. God damn it, names are bad. I've had a very busy day today, so you'll forgive me. My ability to keep track of names is not really there.
Well, am I the only one that finds it extremely hilarious that Mark Wade just happened to find his almost exact namesake in a lawyer named Mark Zaid?
That was weird.
That reminded me. The first thought in my fucking head was that Borderlands DLC About the zombie island of Dr. Ned. All it was the Z was turned, Dr. Z, the Z was turned sideways. Oh, look, now we got Dr. Ned, and he's got a fake mustache, but he looks exactly like the doctor from the fucking game.
I could see that.
Oh, the funniest thing is, I remember Razorfist came out with a video like quite a while back, as a matter of fact, where it was talking about Mark Waid being just like horrible in the comics industry, and he even showed a clip of a hangout Mark Waid did with some guy where the guy asked Mark Waid a question about whether or not the customer's always right, and Mark Waid just no, and I'm like, you dumb motherfucker, that is exactly why you waste your fucking talent writing shit stories. Mark Waid is talented. I can show you comics from the old days that prove he's got some talent. Mm-hmm. He can do the job.
He has some talent.
He has talent. I just said talent. I didn't say he had a lot or a little. He just has talent. He can do it if he fucking tries. But the thing is, that attitude of no, the customer's not always right. That is one of the things that pisses me the fuck off, is until these assholes learn the true meaning of the customer is always right, they're going to keep doing this retarded horse shit, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse, because until they understand what it means the customer is always right is, gee, do I want to buy this shitty comic with the money I spent my entire fucking week working for? Nah, the story is absolute shit, and that's $5 that I could use for a Big Mac or something that at least bring me joy for a minute.
Well, there's actually a problem with that philosophy, though. And it's something that I have never actually believed in myself, the customer is always right. Now, as a customer, I will get frustrated and upset because of piss poor fucking service at, like, say, I don't know, a Walmart. But then again, it's a Walmart. What the fuck am I really expecting to get there aside from fucking ass cracks and fucking meth heads? But basically, I will get, pretty upset when it comes to customer service, when it comes to poor customer service, mostly when it's someone having a fucking attitude with me and they just approached me like, what you want? Oh, okay, maybe a little bit of fucking professionalism, a little more, positivity, for fuck's sake. I'm just asking the question of, hey, do you have this fucking product? But now I don't want to do anything except knock this entire fucking rack over, you bitch. But the customer is not always right. And here's why. There are far too many fucking customers that want different things. And yes, you will provide an array of different fucking products. You want to read something that is, very good for female positivity, a positive female lead, and all that stuff. We've got Wonder Woman for you. We've got She-Hulk for you. We've got Ms. Marvel for you. You want to read something about a billionaire playboy, philanthropist, fucking genius? We got Tony Stark. We got a couple of other issues. We got Tony Stark ripoffs, basically. Yeah, that's Batman. Fine. We pretty much Batman. We've got a bunch of different comic books for you, and that's fine. But here's the thing: the customer isn't necessarily always right, but the customer does know what the fuck they want. That's how the customer is technically right. The customer knows what they want.
Brockus, that's the only thing that the customer is always right means. It doesn't have anything to do with crappy customer service. It's if you make a product and a bunch of people want it, the customer knows they want it. That's what the customer's always right is about. It has nothing to do with customer service or how shitty Walmart is or any of that. It's like the whole thing. People use that as people voting with their wallets. Well, that's what the customer's always right means is if you make a product and not a lot of people buy it, then you have to go back and figure out a way to make the customer want your product because the customer's always right about what they want. It's all to do with you have to come up with something that makes those customers go, I didn't know I needed that until now.
Yeah, but you kind of missed the point of what I was actually saying. See, if the customer is always right and the customer knows what they want, then the direction Marvel is going in isn't wrong. It's actually exactly what the customer has been begging and asking for online for a long fucking time now. There are actually enough sales numbers to basically tell us that, yeah, the customer's still asking for this shit because there are enough fucking faggots out there that will just pander and accept the shit that they're given or the horse shit that is shoveled into their mouths and stuff. And then there's the other people that bitched and complained that we need more inclusivity, we need more diversity and stuff like that. They are also technically customers. Now, do they actually spend money on any Marvel products? Not really. They usually try to get it for free in some way, shape, or form, if they even care to actually consume the product. But there is enough people out there that's actually legitimately buying and purchasing the comic books to continue to get a sale of more than just 500 a unit. Now, are you telling me the customer is still correct?
Well, I think there's a couple competing viewpoints on all this. You're right that if you're making a product for a certain type of demographic and you want pander to that demographic, yes. And you want to say the customer's always right, yes. And I agree with all that. However, the customer isn't buying it. The people that they're aiming for, this little shadow customers that they're trying to get for, the progressives, they're not spending money. So it's not that the customer is wrong. The customer just doesn't like it.
No, but that's my point. There is enough people out there that are actually still buying the comic books. Well, the point I was trying to say on the customer is always right thing is that the customer isn't always right. The customer just knows what they want.
I think you're right to an extent. Like, remember that the guy who created the automobile had said that had he listened to the customer, he would have made a faster horse. And of course, I mean, like, progression doesn't happen unless it happens, and sometimes you need to try new things, and that all makes sense.
But let's go with the thing of Marvel. Basically, at this point, they're riding on their own coattails in a way, because they're I guess there's enough people still buying their shit to keep them afloat. I mean, Mim Headroom wouldn't be doing comic book reviews if it wasn't actually buying the shit comics. So
I believe
there's at least some people buying the product, but the problem is Marvel's not gonna achieve the glory they've had in the past the way they're going now. They'll make some sales, they'll keep themselves afloat for a while, but they're not gonna make the sales numbers that they had, like I would say back in the 90s when people were just buying shit left, right, and sideways.
Well, and you're right. I mean, back in the 90s, if your book sold under like 60,000, I mean, your book would get canceled. And the most popular, or rather, one of their flagship titles was something like Squirrel Girl that only sells like 5,000 books, and it's still going.
Well, that's probably why comic book cover prices are so ungodly goddamn high anymore.
Well, part of that reason is also because like the cost of the product is more. They tried to make it like they tried to come up with the idea like comics are art, so they should treat it as such, and then that's why the comics would be a little bit more expensive. And even though you don't need to make them have better quality not cardstock, but paper, whatever.
Oh, yeah. You just reminded me. I'm coming back to the whole Harry Potter thing. I'm getting sick of talking about it too, so don't feel bad. But actually, the funny thing is, J.K. Rowling, when she started writing that series of books, she did something that Stan Lee had actually mentioned that he did. And what she did was she wrote a book series that she herself would read as a consumer. And Stan Lee said he had done the same thing when he created certain comic books. Was he wrote stories that he himself would want to read, and that is a good way to get a good story out there. Granted, it doesn't work every time, but that's how Stan Lee and J.K. Rowling became such successes. Now, J.K. Rowling, I don't know if she just one flew over the cuckoo's nest or what, but she's turned into another one of those liberal retards just over time. But thankfully for her, she wrote those books back. It started writing them in like the early 90s.
80s.
So
I
early
think,
80s.
well, with her, I think that she's gotten a little bit on the pretentious side and a little full of herself. But to be fair, she earned it. All right, she wrote a very successful book series, has made a lot of money, it's name recognition the world over. I think you earned the right to be a little bit on the full of yourself side.
I'm not ever going to shit talk somebody for their success. If they succeeded in something, more power to them. But at the same time, she did the liberal U-turn where she bent over backwards and stuck her head up her own ass for whatever reason.
Yeah, she probably should have stayed away from the politics side because that's not going too well. Speaking of which, not to change the subject from comics all that much, did you guys see what happened on the DC Twitter account? DC Comics?
Oh, yeah, I was just listening to something about that earlier today where they did the whole Orange Man bad.
Yeah. Like, who the hell is managing DC's Twitter account?
Who gave the fucking NPC the keys to the Twitter account? You do realize we're going to have to do damage control now.
As interesting as all of this is, I'm very tired and can hardly pay attention, so I'm going to go to bed.
Fair enough. You go ahead, get some sleep, Leaf. You're going to need it for all the more school stress stuff that you're going to have to deal with for the next couple of weeks.
Well, you'll
only until early December. I just got to keep telling myself that, and then I'll be certified to get a better job
and have a baby put in you.
No, never.
Oh, he's just going to be nice and give you a massage with baby oil.
No.
Go get some rest there, Mama Leaf. She didn't hear that.
She figured she better get out of here before it got worse.
Yeah.
She needed to leave.
Look, Mama Leaf is tired. She needs to fall.
She wants some of that Brockus brand baby gravy. She'll be all right.
You gotta be careful. People are gonna start thinking she's actually pregnant. Keep this up.
I don't care. People think I'm a fucking rubber ducky rapist, so fuck her. She's gonna deal with the consequences.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Well,
anyway.
You know the whole thing is kind of funny. It's like when you go onto the subject of comics, it's like you see all these people, like everybody knew that fucking shit wasn't it? Alan Moore was a baggy-eyed Bolshevik from way back when, and Watchmen wasn't that great, but we all read it back in the day. I mean, we might as well just admit it. It was it was gritty. It was decent enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was a bad story. It's good. It's entertaining. The art's great, and the storyline's pretty well done too. But
and I'm gonna go ahead and say this now for those of you who anybody who ever watched League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, just hang your head in shame and raise your hand.
Yeah,
I have a copy.
Now, have you read the comics?
No, but I do know of them. I have a friend who has one.
Okay. I'm going to spoil a major plot point in the comic books, but this should give you an idea of how way different from the comics the movie was. There's a point in the comics where they're all sitting around the dinner table, and Mr. Hyde is there, and they're all sitting there, and the Mina Harker lady, the vampire chick, she's just got this weird vibe going where it's like she knows something's off because she can smell it. In the comic books, apparently at one point, Mr. Hyde butt-fucked the Invisible Man to death, left his body on the dinner table, and they were all eating while the Invisible Man bled out and died. And when he died, he turned back visible, and they could see what had happened.
Well, first, I shouldn't laugh, but that's actually
That should tell you what you need to know about the comics version. It is worth the read just because it's like, wow, this is a lot different from the movie. Way different.
Yeah, well, the movie, it was not a good movie. Oh boy.
To get back onto the actual fucking subject at hand.
Oh, you mean bad fandoms? Trust me, I've had more. I've seen more than a few. Fandoms are the reason why I absolutely cannot stand Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, because when I started getting a little interested in it, the fans made damn good and well sure that I didn't want nothing to fucking do with it ever.
Doctor Who has some pretty toxic fans. Dragon Ball Z has really toxic fans. In fact, I've actually had far too many arguments with Dragon Ball Z fans. Batman has some of the worst fans. Superman has some of the worst fans. Wolverine has some of the worst fans. I have been down this road thousands of times. They are dumb. They are ignorant. They refuse fucking information. They completely reject plain as day fucking proof and facts to actually back up the opposing argument and things like that. I have seen this. I have experienced it. I have been a part of it. I have unfortunately bloodied my knuckles both literally and figuratively because of different fucking arguments online over dumb shit like this. I got so mad that I actually punched a fucking wall when I read somebody's retarded ass response. It was not my fucking best moment. But
Brockus,
clearly,
I think we've all been in that boat, because I got a friend of mine who's a really huge fan of Dragon Ball Z, and all that. And Super rubbed him the wrong way for the same reason it rubbed me the wrong way. It was just Akira Toriyama basically wiping his ass with his own storyline. It's like, none of this makes any sense anyway. How the fuck is Krillin able to train with Super Saiyan Blue Goku when Goku should be mopping the floor with his bald little head?
Goku was clearly holding back a lot because he knew that Krillin had no fucking chance. That wasn't the point of that fight, though. No,
but I'm not actually using that as an argument. I'm using that as an example. Like, okay, the biggest point of contention I had was, so you're telling me that this gender swapped Brawly chick, I believe her name was Kale or Khalifa, but one of the two. So she turns into Brawly. So Goku turns Super Saiyan Blue, and she tanked a Kamehameha full blast without a fucking scratch. I fucking think not.
Yeah.
I'm not even that big of a fan of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or any of that, but even watching this, fuck.
Yes, I think that Dragon Ball's got some continuity issues, and I think the problem with that is probably Akira Toriyama himself.
Well, I mean, Akira Toriyama even admitted that he was trying to make the Boo Saga so fucking outlandish that people would quit being fans of Dragon Ball Z so he could do something else with his life for a change.
Yes, and again, I have been down this road with plenty of Dragon Ball Z fans. I've been down this road with plenty of comic book fans. I have been down this road with many anime and comic book fans and fan bases because they are absolutely fucking abhorrent. They are retarded. They are just some of the most annoying human beings you will ever come across. And chances are they are exactly what you've pictured in your head without ever actually seeing them. They are scrawny and pathetic, or fat and pathetic. Pathetic tends to be the most common word that describes these people and shit. If you were to ever confront them in real life, face to face, they would most likely crumble like a goddamn paper man, because most of these people couldn't stand up for themselves to save their own fucking lives. These are usually the really bad ones. I am leading up to something.
All right.
However, there are certain fan bases in this goddamn world on the internet that are so fucking terrible that they make these people palatable. You will have a 3-day long argument of Superman versus Goku, Batman versus Black Panther, whatever fucking argument you will end up getting in. You will look back on those fucking arguments with fond memories if you ever step foot into the realm of talking to the toxic Harry Potter fans, Steven Universe fans, Doctor Who fans, and the most infamous of them all, the Supernatural fans.
You know, I used to like the show Supernatural, but
I still like the show Supernatural.
That show ran way too fucking long. It petered out, I think, around season 6.
I kind of agree with you. I would actually say season 8 is probably where they really should have just stopped. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. The point, however, is that the Supernatural fan base is probably one of the most toxic, one of the most vile fucking fan base I think I've ever seen. And it always starts off the same way. You meet these people, and mind you, I'm not saying all Supernatural fans, because I myself am a Supernatural fan. I know plenty of Supernatural fans who do not take this shit way too fucking seriously. But I have gone a little further down the rabbit hole with Supernatural fans, and I've actually seen what happens when you fucking insult Sam, Dean, or even goddamn Cassiel. God.
Brockus, one quick thing. You showed that that picture set of what was it, Jensen Ackles cosplaying as Red Hood.
Yeah.
Well, you do realize he did the voice of Red Hood in Under the Red Hood.
Yes, if anyone followed me retweeting and saying this is the greatest thing I've ever fucking seen on the internet.
I just wanted to make sure you knew it, but you were aware of it, because I was when I saw the pictures, I was like, okay, I can get along with it, because he actually kind of fit the costume.
Yes, I was well aware. I've actually been well aware for a very long time. In fact, there's a comment that follows that pointing out that I was well aware of that.
Well, say, you don't expect me to actually read past the first tweet, do you?
I hate you. Okay, see, there you are, assuming shit of me, knowing fucking fully well who I am, but you're going to sit there and actually assume, like, you are aware of this extremely obvious bit of information, aren't you?
Well, yeah, nigga. I have to be sure. I mean, yeah, I didn't. Like I said, you didn't mention it in the first tweet, so I had to make sure.
So, are we talking about the toxic fandoms building up to something that could very well be the crescendo of toxic fandoms?
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead. Finish.
I just want to say, like, because tomorrow, I don't know if you guys are aware, but tomorrow is the grand finale of the premiere of the entire series of She-Ra on Netflix.
Oh, fuck.
I was not aware, and I didn't give a fuck either, but
good.
I was going to bring up, I think the whole toxic fandom thing came to my attention first with the whole fib-rear, fear-rib argument.
I don't know what the hell you just said.
Well, I'll lay it out for you. It started in G1 Transformers. And basically, fib-rear, fear-rib is the whole argument of either Frenzy is blue and Rumble is red, or Rumble is blue, Frenzy is red. Yeah, that's basically the whole argument, is which one of the two is which. And it's like, I've made it plain on several occasions. Rumble is the blue one in the fucking cartoons, therefore the blue one is Rumble. That's all I care. That's all I give a shit. That's all I need to know. I didn't get into the comics because, nobody bought comics for me back when I was a kid. I watched the show. That was all I gave a shit about. Rumble was the blue one. Frenzy was the red one. End of discussion as far as I was concerned. But oh my God, I've listened to that argument so fucking long, it makes me want to pull my fucking hair out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But no, Semaj. There is no one fandom that is worse above any other, because I could name at least two others that are worse than Supernatural. Like, the Harry Potter fan base is pretty goddamn horrible, but in all honesty, they are still just shitty.
It could also be that it's not so much that it's horrible as it's just that it's obnoxious.
It's really
like, I think
yes.
with Harry Potter, it's because of its mass fandom, thanks to the books and the movies, and then there's that theme park. I can't remember if that was in Orlando or wherever the damn thing is, but people go there. And there's always new Harry Potter stuff. They got that new movie coming out.
No, Harry Potter's a Warner Brothers property, isn't it? Because I was about to say I think it's Universal Studios, but then I was like, well, wait a minute, I don't know if Warner Brothers would would partner with
Warner
Universal
Brothers doesn't have a theme park, so they usually make attractions in different parks.
Well, yeah, I've been to Universal Studios. That was a rather entertaining. Well, yeah, they got a Ghostbusters attraction that they had there back when I went to Universal Studios, and that was Columbia Pictures. So I don't know.
I definitely want to check out some of these places whenever I get a chance. Lord knows it'll be hard because I'll go there and spend tons of money. And
well, going to Universal Studios and Disney World was kind of the only reasons to be in band class, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
That was how I managed to go.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But Brockus, you mentioned like you'd seen Steven Universe. I saw like maybe one episode of it. If I had to vote for the worst fan base that I'm aware of, it would be Steven Universe, because that show is absolute pure and utter shit.
The show is complete garbage. At least Korra was somewhat passable in certain parts of the show. Like, some of the action scenes were pretty goddamn decent. Some of the storylines were actually not that bad. Overall, it still fucking fails with a goddamn below 40% success rate, in my opinion. But at the same time, the Legend of Korra fan base is what makes it that much worse. Because when you actually get into it, you actually have to argue with these people saying things along the lines of, there was no actual fucking hint or proof to show that that was the inevitable ending. Every single time you come up with a new gotcha moment or a new fucking here's my proof moment, it's based off of conjecture and nothing fucking more. You want it to be that way, hence it is that way. This is why I fucking hate shippers. Two characters look at each other, I ship them now. Go fuck yourself, all right? Just accept the goddamn product for what it is. Now, I will myself join in on the shipping fun because it's just not so. It's not meant to be serious. I don't really care that much. But there was fucking outrage with the Korra and Zuko fucking potential relationship, which truthfully speaking does not actually make any sense when you get into the actual entirety of the whole show. What did end up happening, the Aang and Katara thing, that makes more sense. Anyone who wants to argue with me on that can pretty much go fuck yourself, because I'm not going to argue with you, because the show is my proof in and of itself. 2 fucking seasons worth of this guy being in love with this girl, and this girl consistently seeing this guy is extremely reliable. Just because in season 3 she was a little confused on her fucking emotions does not mean that that's proof alone that she really didn't want anything to do with fucking Aang. Go fuck yourself. Just because an almost kiss in the end of season 2 just so happened, almost happened, does not mean that there was proof that her and Zuko were actually always destined to be a relationship. Go fuck yourself. Do not do these questionable fucking ship things just because you want it to be so, just because you deem it to be so. Just let sleeping dogs lie sometimes. I'm sick and tired of this shit, because then you end up getting these fucking overly toxic bullshit-ass fans who get in the way and demand shit of people. It's the same thing that fucking happened with goddamn Legend of Korra. It's the same thing that almost happened with fucking the new Voltron series. It's the same thing that happened with Steven Universe. These motherfuckers feel so goddamn entitled and so up their fucking own asses with this bullshit. What? The whole show is Brockus Rage. Why are you consistently interrupting my goddamn rants?
Because they are rants.
Every fucking time.
Because they are rants. And that's
the point.
I know.
They came to a show called Brockus Rage, and you're stopping the rage.
Oh, well, I mean, moving on, I guess. Are you upset because not so much that there is shipping going on, but you feel a little bit slighted because you have a personal problem.
I have a personal problem about a lot of shit. I'm sick and tired of these asshole fucking writers doing really questionable things and then telling me how it is. Like the writer for Legend of Korra. I still get pissed off whenever I think about reading that motherfucker's Tumblr account. Not surprising it was on Tumblr, by the way. That motherfucker's Tumblr goddamn post where he basically tells me, as the audience member at one point, rewatch the series without hetero lenses. Okay, nigga, I didn't even realize that I was bisexual for a long fucking time. And here I am being the bisexual male that I am after fucking coming out and realizing that I am this. Go fuck yourself. Hetero lenses can get pretty foggy for me at this point. On top of that, when I learned about that ending, I watched all of the rest of season 2 that I actually didn't see because I stopped watching halfway through. I watched the second half of season 2, I watched all of season 3, and I watched the entirety of season 4. I clearly was looking for moments. Didn't see a fucking thing. And then I read that entire thing again, his post on Tumblr, and was beyond pissed. I'm like, how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you have the audacity to tell me I'm wrong for fucking seeing it the way I see it simply because I don't believe you. When I even confronted a friend of mine, somebody who actually will pander to this bullshit, because when I brought it up to him, I said, like, dude, did you see any of that happening? He was like, yeah, it happened. It was good. It was there. Just leave it alone. Like, he didn't even want to get into the discussion with me. And I'm just like, wow, okay, yeah. None of my friends, this is the part that pissed me off. I went on a huge fucking rant on Facebook about this. None of my friends wanted to have a discussion, a legit discussion. Anytime I get into shit like this, nobody ever wants to actually have these discussions with me. And usually it's because they think that I'm just this piece of shit, stubborn asshole who refuses to budge from his position, so he's not going to actually listen to anything that they have to say and stuff like that. And here's what I have to say about that. You're kind of right. I am that way. Here's the difference. I'm still willing to have an open mind and actually have my mind changed. I'm kind of like Steven Crowder in that aspect. I actually want to have these conversations. I want to have these discussions. But so far, I have yet to meet someone who has ever actually presented enough evidence to legitimately change my mind. No one has ever actually had a point of view that was good enough to legitimately change my mind. I will present things. Korasami is not a thing. Change my mind. No one has the balls to even sit down and have that chat with me anymore. Anytime somebody tried to defend it, I ended up beating them down in my goddamn fucking, with my logic, like within a few fucking minutes. They present point, I present counterpoint. They present counterpoint, I present other counterpoint. They give up.
Fromage is a lie.
Fromage is not a thing, yes.
Well, and let's just go ahead and come right out with it. I get that people like to ship fucking, characters from shows. That's a thing. I get it. There's times when I've even been like, it would be kind of cool to see these two characters in this movie, show, cartoon, whatever. It'd be cool to see them get together. But the level that people seem to take it to, oh God, that's part of why it's like somebody sink that fucking ship right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, since anytime I get into my rants and ravings and all that stuff, I'm just going to get interrupted again. I'm kidding. I'm just...
Yeah, well, why?
I'm joking. Go, stop.
I get bored.
Shut up.
I want to rage too, I'm mad about things.
I know.
I used to love Rick and Morty. I used to love that shit.
Samaj, hold up. You're a fucking Canadian. What your rage would be telling somebody, I'm slightly upset.
You want to see a Canadian rage? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Fakest in the chat, I'm sorry. Neil J, I am sorry, okay? Andrea Blue, I'm sorry. Brockus, I'm sorry. Magnus, I am sorry.
What are you apologizing to me for?
He went full Trudeau. He's just apologizing to people. He doesn't even know why.
Well, I mean, fuck you, I'm sorry. Gio, I don't even know who you are, Gio, and I'm sorry. Nightbot, I see you all the time, buddy. I mean, I'm so sorry. Did I just apologize to a robot?
Yes, you did.
Ah, fucking, I'm sorry.
You know what? That whole thing right there just makes up for all the shit that I've had to deal with over the last couple of days, because that was funny.
I try.
Well, you know though, Brockus, you. Oh no, Semaj, you brought up the whole She-Ra thing, and it's like, yeah, I saw the fat Spinnerella character that they threw in that show, and it's like, wow, really? And it's like it just reminds me that this is the reason why I can't jive with any modern remakes of shows, is because if I don't mind them changing characters, that's fine. But you know that they're only changing these characters just because, not for any real story reasons, but just because they can. And you know they're going to take that story and they're going to fuck it into the ground, because it's not going to be any good whatsoever.
I think, and I've mentioned this before, but when it comes to a lot of these modern day remakes that we're seeing, part of me isn't really all that upset with the creators, because a lot of people will go to school for animation and filmmaking and all the other kind of stuff, and they want to make their own projects, want to do their own things. And often you have to go to bigger companies to get funding to make said movies and other kind of stuff. And in order for that to happen, they don't want to take a gamble on new projects. So they say, okay, well, you have to prove yourself, and you're going to work for us, and we're going to tell you what project to work on. And I imagine in this case of She-Ra, it's very much that. I don't think the people working on She-Ra want to work on She-Ra. I think they're working on She-Ra because they've been told to work on She-Ra. Because there's not a lot of opportunities out there for animators.
Actually, you bring that up, and it takes me back to. I mean, we all pretty much watched and liked the 2011. I think it was 2011 reboot of Thundercats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I found out the whole reason why that show died was not because people weren't watching the show. It was because the toy sales were shit.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
That disappointed me. It's the same fucking reason they killed Optimus Prime and all the other Autobots in Transformers the movie. Shitty toy sales.
Sorry. Yeah, I could see that, and it sucks because I like Optimus Prime. I don't want him to keep dying and getting rebooted. With that said, though, I want them to seriously stop rebooting the cartoon show. I'm really getting sick of that. There's that new Transformers show that came out, and
Cyberverse.
And the previous show was really good. The CG thing they had going there, that was really good. I've recently started watching some of it, and I'm like, just keep that going. Yeah.
You're talking about Transformers Prime, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if that was the one.
Fortunately and unfortunately, that show only had 3 seasons and a movie that followed the end of the show. But with that show, they actually, wrapped up the story of that particular show very neatly, and it was like they could have just ended any Transformers of any kind right there, and I would have been happy.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but also, I mean, something like Transformers does make money. It sells toys, which is something that a lot of people tend to forget when they're making these things. Because I remember I'm a big fan of the YouTube channel Clownfish TV, where they do a lot of nerd talks and whatnot, and they talked about one of the things that sold really well for girls or for dolls and stuff is the hair. Because that's the kind of thing that girls like. They like that kind of stuff. And so the She-Ra toys sold well because they had combable hair. These new She-Ra toys that they have, and there are She-Ra toys, by the way, which I guess they're going to start canceling immediately. But they were all plastic hair. And women hate plastic hair.
Well, that's because if you're going to put plastic hair on the character, it has to be an action figure. Not see that was the thing. That was kind of the whole reason why back in the day I called it He-Man action figures and She-Ra dolls, was because dolls have actual hair, real or not. It's actual hair. Like you were saying, combable hair.
I think the problem with like trying to put combable hair on an action figure is that, like with a doll, you'll notice they have limited movement, and then they have clothes to go with it. And I think part of the reason for that is because the hair will get caught up in the gears of the various different things, like elbow joints and shoulder muscles and all that kind of stuff. Like, I like my action figures to have a lot of movement, but if you put hair on that hair is going to get caught up in everything.
Well, yeah. Well, that's probably why you're talking about the toys selling. That's why the Masterpiece Transformers line is getting a shit ton of my money, is because they're way they blow the old toys out of the water. As the limited. Brockus, I don't know if I sent you a picture, but I actually bought the G1 reissue of Hot Rod.
I see that at my local Walmart every now and then. I wonder about getting it.
Well, yeah, if you do, just don't plan on doing anything much with it, because its posability is like absolute fucking zero. You can bend the elbows to point the guns, but that's it. That is your whole fucking range of movement with the original toys was, oh, look, I can bend the elbows. Ha ha, now he's pointing the gun at you. Whereas you guys have seen the pictures of my fucking Masterpiece Transformers where they're one leg's out front, the other leg's in the back. They got the hand, the one hand behind their back and pointing the gun with the other and whatever, and their head's actually looking in that direction. It's like, yeah, I can actually pose these fucking things. I can actually do what I've been thinking about, which is get a table and make it look like an old cartoon landscape from the show, and make like a war scene with all the Transformers, actually in poses pointing their guns at each other. I could actually do that.
Brockus, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, I guess we're talking Transformers, and I didn't want you to think we were ignoring you.
Speaking of which, Brockus, I've been meaning to ask, when did you say you were going to do that Transformers hangout that you wanted me to be there for?
Eventually. I'm not sure when, but it'll be sometime soon on a Brockus Talks.
Well, just make sure to let me know ahead of time, because
of course. I usually hit people up about a week or a couple of weeks before I actually set the date.
Well, because I got to go home, turn 42 years old, and then eat turkey, on the 21st and 22nd. So
happy birthday for it. Have a turkey.
yeah, just the fact that I'll be able to have turkey the day after I turn old again.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, I will finally have hit that age where I myself will be the meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
That's true. You'll be 42. Fuck. That's an important milestone right there.
Yes, it is.
I was going to say on the Transformers talks, I've been playing around with my little Masterpiece Optimal Optimus that I got from Walmart the other day. And as much as I think it's a fairly decent toy, I kind of hate it.
Oh, that is not the Masterpiece figure.
Oh, okay. I'm not entirely certain. I'm not.
Now that one's the Power of the Primes figure, which.
Oh yes.
The Power of the Primes figures are really good. I mean, I'm still buying like the Combiner Wars and Titans Returns and all that.
Yeah.
But right now, I've been focused on Masterpiece figures, which I blew $500 on Friday buying like but apparently in order to get a lot of the first season G1 figures, I've had to go into the realm of fan toys and knockoffs from companies that are making the figures, whereas the actual Takara Tomy Masterpiece line hasn't even started on them yet.
Yeah, they take a while for them, but I think they need to get it just right. I love their Beast Wars collections, like the Cheetor and Optimus and all. Like, I don't know how they're fucking managing this. That's some clever engineering, but my god, they look great. I did want
the masterpiece versions are an absolute fucking pain in the ass to transform. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, well, chances are if I get them, if I transform them, I'm not going to change them back.
Oh no, you'll get that itch to fuck around with them repeatedly. Trust me. I've it's all I can do every now and again to not. I mean it. I was even telling somebody the other day. I was showing them the masterpiece Thundercracker and Starscream figures that I've got, and I looked him dead in the eye, and I was holding the bottom of a Thundercracker, and I was like, you know, it is all I can do right this very second, holding this plane in my hands, not to, you know. And I started moving my hand around and going, yeah. It is all you can fucking do not to do that when you've got them in your hand.
Yeah, I could say that. I did want to say though, like going back to the my Optimus toy that I get, I look on the Big Bad Toy Store and they got that third party person who makes the like accessories to, let's say, quote unquote, complete it.
Oh, you're talking about the upgrades?
Yeah, because they don't really, you know, go the extra mile and add all the various bells and whistles, and so third party people have to make it for them. And
go on eBay and get them from China. It'll take a while to get there, but you'll be pleased.
Oh, and fair enough, but I really like that other people are going out there and taking that initiative to do the other stuff, add more to things to your toys, so that way it feels more of a complete thing. It sucks that it's not in the box originally, but at the same time, I mean, that's opportunities for someone else, like, you know, indie toy developers, to just sort of make their own thing.
Well, see, and this is a fun way to kind of round off the whole talk about toxic fandoms, because as much as you have toxic fandoms, you have those awesome fandoms that do things like make upgrades and customize the toys for your particular fandom. It's nice to have those, because, but you know, it kind of balances out. Well, certain fandoms it balances out. I can't say it does it with all of them, because, you know, some of them are still absolute fucking garbage.
See, so some things like in Beast Wars, they have like one of the characters named Tarantulas. He has these little robots. They have like little flashlights on with like 6 legs. It was always a running joke within the show that he had these little minions to do stuff, but it was never in any toy. It's never anything official, but you see it so often. It's like synonymous with the character. Now, a fan went out there and he makes these little custom ones that look like film accurate, because they're made of type of resin and a type of plastic and stuff. And I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, this guy needs to just make like a model kit, because they're easy to make. And if you did it like that and just shipped it out that way, people can build it themselves, and it'll be cheaper, and he can probably like produce them out there a lot faster. Because right now,
well, see, that's almost like the I went on eBay and I actually found masterpiece sized Energon cubes that you can buy to go with your masterpiece figures.
oh yeah, it's good.
On the bright side though, I think they covered all the bases where they have like the different colors you can get. Like they had some that were yellow. That I got the ones that were Matrix blue. They said was the color. And it was they had G1 pink, and I was like, yeah, I like the blue ones better. Just in Transformers Prime, they had the blue Energon cubes, and I was like, yeah, those make a lot more sense, because that kind of explains why their eyes are blue.
Yeah, I could see that. Hey, Brockus. What kind of toys did you play with as a kid? Please tell me you had Ninja Turtles.
I had Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, some Transformers, Ghostbusters, basically anything the 80s pumped out that was designed for boys. I had that shit, so to speak.
Did you have the Silverhawks?
No. Okay, I should actually specify. If it was early 80s, I had it, because my parents at the time only had me, just me. My brother didn't come around until about I was 3 years old and such. And even then, it was just me and my brother for the most part. So me and him pretty much had like a lot of different fucking toys. We didn't have all the toys from the Ninja Turtles, but we had Ninja Turtle toys. We had Transformer toys. We had Thundercats toys. In fact, I actually at one point did have every single Thundercat toy you could actually ask for.
Sweet.
But basically, they all eventually disappeared, and with each addition to the family, because my mom and dad couldn't stop fucking, we ended up getting less and less toys. And so it got to a point where I did at one point have a fuckload of toys, and then I suddenly didn't.
Well, see, I lost all my original Transformers toys in a house fire, so.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, you know what? That Christmas was the Christmas that I remember the most. Was the most epic Christmas as far as I was concerned, because that year I got Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Skywarp for Christmas. Along with the standard shit like clothes and stuff, which was a disappointment and a half, but that was also the same. That was also the same year my brother decided to be a smartass and gave me a box of horse shit for Christmas.
Okay.
It was a box under the tree. I had my name on it. Said "From Santa," and I opened it up, and even my grandmother, my mom, and everybody who was there was like, "What the fuck?" It was a box of horse shit. He just nonchalantly traveled down to our barn where we had horses, got a couple of shovels full of horse shit, put it in a box, wrapped it up, put it under the tree.
Oh boy. Oh, I don't mean to laugh, but I think that's pretty good. Hey, Brockus, real quick for you.
It's funny now, but
back then it was probably like, what a
yeah.
dick. But hey, I mean, that's a story you could tell for years to come.
Yeah.
Hey, Brockus, I'm just looking at something right now. Anaheim, that's in California, right? I'm not from America. I don't know this stuff.
Yeah,
Anaheim is in California.
It's the city I was born in.
Oh, okay. You don't live in that city right now, do you?
No, that shit would be way too expensive.
Oh, okay. How far away is it from you?
Everywhere in Southern California is an hour away from from something else until you get to a certain area, in which case it's 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Like right. LA to San Diego, 3 hours, roughly.
I can confirm this.
Well, you're a truck driver. You better be able to confirm it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm asking out of curiosity because when we were talking about like conventions, I'm not in the conventions, toys and stuff like that. There is a convention in Anaheim that I've been wanting to go to for a while. It's called DCon, and that stands DCon. It's Designer Con.
Oh.
It's in the Anaheim Convention Center. And essentially, this is where independent toy makers make their stuff and probably get, hopefully picked up, or at the very least, you can sell and build an audience. You can go there. People can make all kinds of indie toys. I mean, a lot of people out there started doing stuff in DCon. Yeah, we can always head on over there and have a look and see what toys could be coming up in the future.
Well, hell's bells there, Semaj. Why don't I'm actually thinking about ditching Heroes Con this year and going to BotCon instead.
Oh man, I want to go fucking BotCon. Oh, I want to go BotCon.
Hey, I tell you what, if I can go, you can come with.
Oh, we'll see how things go. I'd love to head off on down into BotCon, but yeah, no,
I never even knew they had all these fucking Transformers conventions until like fairly recently.
Yeah, I think because with the rise of conventions, they just sort of started popping up. I know there's a BotCon in Toronto, and that's in Canada and all that. I've been wanting to go to that one. I know it's in Toronto, and Schmeckel's like an hour away. He'd probably join me for that. So, yeah.
Well, see, I'd love to go to BotCon just to see, what the prospects would be like for buying actual toys and shit.
Oh yeah, probably pretty good. There's probably a lot of people who bring their toys over these things. Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I mentioned that I blew like $500 on Masterpiece toys. Well, over the last few days, I actually finally broke down, blew more money, and bought the entirety of Abominus.
What?
Yeah, the Combiner Wars Abominus set. What was it? The Terracons.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, see, that was one of the few sets they actually carry at Walmart. Where you can get the main body toy and then all the limbs.
All right then. Well then, yeah, like you like your Transformers.
Yeah, I kind of do.
That's fair enough. I enjoy my Beast Wars, so there we go. God, I keep hoping they're coming back with that. I hope this new Transformers movie is good. The Bumblebee. Everything I've seen.
So too.
I mean, everything I've seen has me very hopeful. It's everything I want. But yeah, maybe we should get off the topic of Transformers because Brockus has a stream coming up on this very topic. We want to save our collective nerddom over that.
Yeah, you could do all that at a later time. I'm actually going to go ahead and shut this shit down because it's diverged from fucking Brockus Rage to Han Solo 2.0.
Well, you know what, Brockus, you could have even done a rage about the fact that every time me and Semaj are together, we're talking about fucking Transformers.
Yeah, you guys need to stop doing that, by the way.
I wish I could. It's a little hard. Maybe what I should be doing is I should change my avatar to like an Optimus Primal, because I already gave Magnus there a Nemesis Prime kind of avatar.
You might have to actually create a new avatar for yourself for that exact reason.
Actually, I think it would be funnier if you did Nemesis Primal.
Maybe we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we probably should start shutting down. I did want to say here that BFU's picks will be fucking dying in a fire at some point. I'm sure.
Who what?
The people who hacked the cunt stream.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for coming out for another Brockus Rage. That was unfortunately interrupted over and over again.
Repeatedly.
Tomorrow night we will, of course, have a Han Solo. I have no idea what the topic is actually going to be, but go ahead and tune in if you want to. However, at some point soon, because we haven't actually set ourselves on that time frame, we are going to be moving forward the actual streaming times for a lot of the Snatchcast streams from the usual 11 p.m. / 8 p.m., depending on which coast you're on, to 8 / 5. So as long as all the co-hosts are well aware that we're actually going to be pushing forward for a couple of by a few hours, we're going to move from our normal time to a more in the evening time. And I think the reason why we wanted to do this is because Mackle likes to sleep at night now. so that might be one of the reasons. Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. But yes, join us again tomorrow night when we have our Han Solo talking about fucking, I'm sure, again, Transformers. On top of that, Wednesday, we have Leaf's Shop of Horrors. Friday, we also have Cringe of Yesteryear and a regular Snatchcast that very night, except I'm not around on Thursdays and Fridays, so I wouldn't actually be able to tell you what's going on. I don't know what happens on Thursdays anymore at this point. I just kind of like don't show up ever. Well, and then, of course, Saturday night is a regular cunt stream.
Yeah, just wanted to say there, we know what's happening tomorrow there, Brockus. It's going to be a eulogy to Stan Lee.
You know what? That's a good idea. We should definitely, have many talks about Stan Lee.
I mean, I part of me was wondering why we never did it on this stream, but at the same time, like tomorrow would be ideal. We'll be talking about him a lot and what Marvel has meant to us, probably growing up, not what it's become, what's always been.
That's actually a really good idea. I do apologize for the fact that Mike Laster has asked a few questions in the chat, and I actually was not paying attention. Sorry about that. When I'm calmed down from a rage, I get real quiet, regardless of whether people are talking or not. I get very calm, and it's because, like, I don't know, my system's rebooting. I can't fully explain it, but basically I get very calm. What's your favorite Transformer? I don't really have a favorite Transformer, to be honest. I'm not that big of a Transformer fan, but if I had to say, Decepticon would probably be either
Thundercracker for life.
Shut the fuck up. Either Starscream or Shockwave. As for Autobots, I would have to say it's either Ironhide or Hot Rod. Don't ask why. I was a fan of Hot Rod when I was a kid. I don't really know.
Hot Rod was the sweet wheels that gave you that boner of, oh, I want that car.
No, it's actually what Bumblebee was apparently took the place of in the Transformers live action movies and shit. Because, yeah, Bumblebee was not a fucking goddamn sports car. Which Transformer did you have? I had a lot of different Transformers, to be honest, but I could not tell you which ones I specifically had because I had a fuckload of them, and they were the mini ones. The mostly the mini trains. Oh wait, I did have Barricade. I can remember that I had Barricade at one point. That's the only one I remember. Anyways, so I've answered, acknowledged the chat that had some questions for me. I do apologize about that. I think that's it. Find Semaj on Twitter at Semaj_Z. I'm not going to say the Z. Go fuck yourself. So at Semaj_Z_. Magnus Deacon, I believe, is at Magnus Deacon.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course, I'm Brockus Fury, at Brockus_Fury. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our individual channels, although I think me and Semaj are the only ones that actually do have legitimate channels that have stuff on them at this time. I actually have to build from the ground up all over again, so it's kind of a fucking very slow crawl and shit, but I've been getting a lot of subscribers lately. Anyways, thank you for joining us tonight, cunts. Get the fuck out.
Well, actually,